Welcome back to Last Stop Sports Talk. Today's Sunday, March 30th, 2025, and I'm with Kean Kropp and Carson Kropp. And today we are bringing you our top 5 consensus-ranked linebackers in the 2025 NFL Draft. So, we watched them all, ranked them all up. We're going to give it to you what we think, and let's dive right into it. So, our number 5 is actually tied for number 4. So, first guy we're going to talk about here is Danny Stutzman out of Oklahoma, 6'3", 233 pounds. In 2024, he played 12 games. He had 109 total tackles, 44 solo tackles, 1 sack, 8 tackles for loss, 0 forced fumbles, 0 forced fumble recoveries, 0 passes defended, 0 interceptions. Kean and I had him 4, Carson had him 5. So, Kean, let's get right into it.
Yeah, if you want an old school, downhill, hard hitter, Brian Urlacher highlights coming up. Yeah. This guy even wears the old school neck roll.
Yes, cowboy collar.
You know this guy's got to be a good linebacker. He can be trusted to win some one-on-one battles in the run game. He is a brick wall in the run game. He doesn't even have that low of a stance whenever running backs meet him in the gap. He's just strong enough to stop them in their tracks with ease. And he's only 233. I say only, but like we've seen some heavier linebackers, like they can be upwards now of like 250 is ginormous, like Jack Campbell, but like 233 is kind of mid. But he's also quick in pursuit. A 4.52 40-yard dash does show up in his film. He's just quick to diagnose run plays. He is a tackling machine too. This guy has racked up at least 104 total tackles in each of the last 3 seasons.
Ridiculous.
Thanks to his good combo of movement, agility, and strength. But man, you see that neck roll, and you know that he's going to be a good linebacker.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's what I thought too. I'm like, oh holy crap! I mean, this guy hits hard, and then I see him zoomed in. I'm like, this guy's got a cowboy collar. I don't need to see anything else. This guy leads with his head. He's just an aggressive tackler at the line, and just is not afraid to lay the hit. He's got pretty good size, like Kean talked about. I think he's got good instincts, especially around the line, to kind of read that run game and know where he's going with it. Good football smarts, too, just in general. He seems to be able to stay one step ahead and just is able to read and adjust immediately. He slips off and around blocks pretty well to stay like in the action, and he's got good patience, and then he can kind of watch, kind of reads and everything like I just talked about, and then hits that ball carrier in a hurry. He's just a true old school back. It's just great to see.
I agree with everything you guys said. Great at reading the play, gets through blocks. He's amazing and not overcommitting. I noticed that he kind of plays square to the ball carrier at all times, and he shuffles like he's playing defense in basketball.
He does, yeah.
And then he addresses them in the hole. For Cons, it's really just he's not very fast or quick, not super explosive, and he's kind of smaller, as Kean said. Not very small, but smaller.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with the not super explosive. He's very effective inside, like I talked about, but as you work outside and into space, he becomes less productive pretty quickly, with taking maybe some bad angles sometimes and not being able to judge that as much. Yeah, just average athleticism, and he's a hard hitter, but I think maybe due to his size, he sometimes absorbs more contact than he can deliver with oncoming blockers.
Yeah, and I'm concerned about his coverage too. You can't really rely on this guy outside of run support. Now this guy is he's like a Dre Greenlaw, but you need a Fred Warner beside him who can be like the hoverer around and just kind of cover tight ends and stuff, because this guy had PFF coverage grades that really describe him well. 46.3, 64.2, 49.4 in 2024, 23, and 22 respectively. And I saw that he doesn't often charge into the backfield on run or pass plays. He's not a big I'm going to meet you behind the line. He's going to meet you at the line of scrimmage usually. He's like you said, Carson. He always keeps himself square. He's not overcharging. He's also not known for any kind of pass rushing ability. And then another big con is that this guy's already experienced a ton of contact in his career. As I said, he's got 376 total career tackles. It's crazy.
So much.
I just hope his body isn't wearing down. But overall, old school linebacker, you gotta love Danny Stutzman.
Yep.
Leads perfectly into my summary. Old school linebacker that plays disciplined and works with what he's got. And then my comp, I think it's a little,
high praise.
Okay. Bobby Spillane.
Oh, Bobby Spillane.
But also, I think Bobby Spillane was like a 5th round pick or something. So.
Yeah. He was later.
Yeah.
I like it.
That.
Man, I love it. All right, moving into our other guy that's ranked for number 4, Chris Paul Jr. out of Ole Miss. He is 6'1", 222 pounds. In 2024, he played 12 games, 88 total tackles, 50 solo, 3.5 sacks, 11 tackles for loss, 0 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 4 passes defended, 1 interception. Keaton had him 5. I had him 6. Carson had him 2. So Carson, start us into it.
Man, I love this guy. He's a my guy for me. I have him as my linebacker, too. I really strongly debated putting him 1.
Wow.
I kept him 2. Plays aggressive and determined. He's great at wrapping up, even though he is only 222 pounds. He has great burst, and he plays like he's much bigger than he is. He plays above his weight, stands up running backs in the hole. He's one of those guys that I watched, and he earned a dang from me. You know, good play recognition. He's always in the hole, always making a play. He goes and makes the play. Some of these linebackers we see kind of let the play develop and come to them. This is a guy that he is the one to go and make the play. And he has pretty good coverage ability as well.
Yeah, this guy is smaller. 222 is pretty darn small. But I think that he is taking advantage of that with good speed. 4.63 in the 40-yard dash. I didn't see that. I think he looks faster than that, in my opinion, on the field. And despite his small size, I think he's got good upper body strength to wrap and rip ball carriers down with anger. He is throwing them to the ground. I would love to see him in coverage against running backs with his speed and acceleration as well. I think that he would do just fine in the NFL.
Yeah, he's a sure-handed tackler who can also tackle in space pretty well. He's got good caution, but also good urgency. He's kind of right there in the middle of it, in my opinion. He's smart with where he needs to be and what his assignment is. He doesn't seem to get lost in the jumble of players. And he's had good production the last 3 years. And then 2022 and 2023, those years were in Arkansas. Also, just for info.
It's good to know.
Yeah, it's good to know. He's a determined blitzer, and he just seems like a guy that's just willing to do his job, whatever that may be. So getting into cons, we talked about the size. He lacks ideal size. He's just I think he's just kind of average speed. I think he's fast, but he's average. And he could struggle in pursuit and in man coverage in NFL specifically is what that relates to. I think he gets slowed down by his blockers quite a bit. Yeah. And his contact balance, I don't think it's as much as I'd like to see, especially for someone that Carson's ranking like 2. I think that kind of hurts. And I think that, in my opinion, I think sometimes whenever he can sense a big hit coming, he might back off a little compared to Stutzman, who's going to dive in there with no care for his own being. But yeah, specifically downhill runners I'm talking about in that sense.
Yeah, my biggest con, I don't think his lack of weight shows up whenever he's making the tackle, but if he's getting blocked, this guy gets really really affected. I think he gets caught up on offensive linemen whenever he's rushing the passer. I think that he gets kind of lost and stuck in front of the big offensive linemen in the run game as well. He's just affected a lot. Like if they get a hand on him, it's probably sending him into a different country,
different level of field.
But if he has a straight line to the ball carrier or the passer, I think that he's able to make quick turns and get around them. But if he's ever touched, it's kind of done for.
Now this summary, you have a summary or a comp?
I don't.
Okay, well my summary comp is kind of also too high praise because of how in love with this guy I am. But aggressive and bursty linebacker that plays much larger than he is, and then my comp is a slower Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Oh, okay, yeah, like the smaller linebacker, athletic linebacker.
Yeah, which that's how I see him or hope he gets used. Is like a JOK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Poopaw.
Moving into our number 3 consensus-ranked linebacker, Carson Schlesinger out of UCLA. He is 6'2.5", 242 pounds. 2024 season, he played 13 games, 136 total tackles, 90 solo, 4 sacks, 9 tackles for loss, 1 forced fumble, 0 fumble recoveries, 3 passes defended, 2 interceptions. Keenan and I had him 3. Carson had him 4. So let's get right into it. If I can find it. Hold on for the team. Okay, this guy is a dog. And by that, I mean he went from a walk-on to an All-American player. He's a good combo of elite instincts, solid size, but kind of small. But he's got good body control, and he's got good anticipation, too. He's a good coverage player, which I really like a lot. He's got really good play recognition and play speed, and he's a great open field tackler, and just does a lot of things very well, including special teams, if guys are looking for that, too.
Yeah, I think this guy is close to opposite of Danny Stutzman. I love this guy's speed and acceleration, flying all around the field. I love him in coverage. Just as you said, it feels like he could be solid in coverage with the speed to stick with running backs or tight ends. I think that he is a quick blitzer with fast pursuit and the ability to get skinny through a gap in the offensive line. Just fluid athlete at 6'2.5", 242. But yeah, I just loved his maneuverability around the field, and I wanted to rank him higher.
Me too.
But I just think that the top 3 in this linebacker class are very strong. I wasn't impressed with last year's linebackers, but I did really like this class overall, and I just couldn't put him any higher.
Yeah, I said that he has a warm motor because it's not like he has a hot motor, but his motor is kind of always running warm. Like
it's idling.
Yeah, it's aggressive, but it's not anything spectacular. He's very instinctive, and the biggest thing I liked about him is when he's coming through the line of scrimmage to the quarterback, he's like a running back. He's very quick and shifty. He reminds me of like a Bucky Irving, shaking off the O-line and getting to the quarterback. So I was very impressed with that, but I also couldn't rank him any higher because he just kind of – when I saw he weighed in at 242 at the Combine, I was shocked.
Right?
Yeah,
he seems very undersized, and to me he seems like an oversized safety almost, which is very goes along great with my comp. If he's meeting someone in the hole, I think he's probably going to take the worst of it. And I just wouldn't feel great about him one-on-one trying to tackle an NFL running back.
Yeah, I agree. A pro con I have, he's not the fastest, you just kind of talked about, but I think his smart play makes up for most of that. But yeah, the issues with the bigger blockers and just not having enough size to be a heavy-hitting linebacker.
Yeah, that my main con is just he lacks the strength. He plays more like a wiry, speedy, track-you-down chaser. Not a hard hitter. He's not going to be able to consistently stop the ball carrier in his tracks. Yeah, I agree that he does just play more like a safety.
Yeah.
You have any comp skin?
I don't have any for the linebackers, unfortunately.
Dang.
Wait, I do have one, but he's a guy that I'm going to have to talk about afterwards.
Okay. Undersized but quick and instinctive linebacker, and my comp is Drew Tranquil.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I really like
I believe
that one.
he also used to be a
Safety.
I thought he was
Yes.
a safety at one point. Yeah.
Yep. All right, moving into our number 2 consensus-ranked linebacker, Demetrius Knight Jr. out of South Carolina, 6'2", 235 pounds. In 2024, he played 13 games. He had 82 total tackles, 57 solo, 2 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 3 forced fumbles, 0 fumble recoveries, 1 pass defended, and 1 interception. Keenan and I had him 2. Carson had him 3. So I will start on this guy as well. This is a great tackler with dominant closing speed and a hard-hitting attitude. He's got good instincts. He's good at reading and reacting, in my opinion, and he's good at slipping through blocks. He's not the best athlete by any means, but he knows how to play his position well and do his job well. And just has I just love this guy's attitude a lot. He's just a hard-hitting, determined, just football attitude is how it feels. And then to finish off, for me, he's got lots of experience. He's got 5 full years of football under his belt, which I think is a pro from the linebacker position and learning how to play and leverage and reading, reacting, instincts, and everything like that.
Yeah, that could mean a lot for him in going into the NFL, and he doesn't quite have the contact that Danny Stutzman has.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, I love this guy and how he's a quick thumper is the way I'll say it. He changes speeds in pursuit near the line of scrimmage to shoot through open lanes of the ball carrier whenever they open up. He just unlocks a new gear whenever he's out in the open field and he gets to crash downhill. That guy crashing downhill is very fast, and he's just whenever he gets close to the ball carrier, he does a really quick burst and thumps him so hard.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like he really slams down the hammer once he gets close. It's just a very powerful north to south mover. He wants to hit you hard, stop you in your tracks, and he packs a punch with his 6'2", 235 frame.
This guy's motor is hot.
Yes.
His is not warm. His is definitely hot. He stands up running backs in the hole. Powerful hitter, as you said. Great burst. Another guy that goes and makes the play. Doesn't let the play come to him. He forces it upon them that he's getting them. He's good at slipping off or going through blocks to get to the ball carrier. And he's not very big, but he's very wide and thick.
Yeah.
And then to get into the cons, sometimes his pursuit angles may be too aggressive. He's too eager to get to the play, and he tries to take a shorter angle, ends up behind him. Doesn't always wrap up. Sometimes he just thumps him but doesn't wrap.
Yeah.
Just tries to blow him backwards and hope that's enough. Not very fast, and then I don't really know how he is in coverage because I didn't see any highlights of him in coverage because I don't think he's really used like that.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I have for him is he'll be 25 years old before the season starts, which
Sure.
is pretty old nowadays for a prospect.
Yeah, some of those cons I'll add too because I saw the same thing. He's not the best athlete, like I said, and yeah, with that coverage thing, him not being the best athlete or like the biggest size, I am a little bit worried about his man coverage ability. But and like you said, he's not the biggest, but he does have a very solid frame.
Yeah, about his speed, I do think they're average at best. I'm more impressed with. I know I said he crashes downhill hard. That's more of like a burst in my eyes.
Burst,
like
yep.
his at very small bursts, he can be very powerful. But as far as like long speed, he doesn't really move east to west either. He just kind of shuffles east to west, then he finds a gap and then he bursts through.
Yep.
Yeah.
And yeah, I would be really concerned with him in coverage because he doesn't really have quick feet. Change of direction ability is not the best because he's more north to south. But overall, yeah, if you want a thumper, you probably want Demetrius Knight Jr.
Yes.
Hard-hitting, in-your-face linebacker that takes some risks. And I saw some Edgerrin Cooper in him and also some glimpses of Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah, Greenlaw.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I love Dre Greenlaw.
Love the thumpers for sure. All right, moving into our number one consensus ranked linebacker in this 2025 draft class, Jihad Campbell out of Alabama, 6'3", 235 pounds. He, in 2024, he played 13 games, 117 total tackles, 54 solo, 5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, 2 passes defended, and 1 interception, and we all had him 1 across the board. So, Carson, get us started.
Now this guy
These guys.
seems like a Trent Baalke pick.
It does, yeah.
Great speed.
Yep.
Great speed, burst.
Yep.
Great size.
What?
Powerful tackler when squared up.
What?
And yeah, that's all I got really for pros. So
Okay.
Yeah,
because once again, Trent Baalke pick.
Yeah. I think this guy's size is. I mean, I know that I said that like 233 on Danny Stutzman is pretty small, but with him, I think that Jihad Campbell. I mean, I guess they both play with their size pretty well. I would say that like it's all about how you play with it, and Jihad really plays well with it. He's got on top of that the 6'3", 235. He's got 32.5-inch arms, and for what it's worth, he's got 10.5-inch hands.
Jeez.
That's ginormous.
Yeah.
I really love this guy's play recognition. He reminded me a lot of a bigger Edgerrin Cooper from last year, just taller at least. He watches and reads the quarterback's eyes in coverage, and he's able to make a play on the ball or get to the pass catcher as soon as he catches it. He does well at playing zone coverage over the middle. He often moves in the direction of the running back is going to run before the running back even starts moving. And he just has the length and jumping ability to be able to swat some passes down close to the line of scrimmage. Overall, I think that he is, I guess, I would say clearly the linebacker one. I just have some concerns about I don't know. I guess I don't really know what I have concern. There's nothing I should really be concerned about. I think that he's going to be fine. I've seen him being mocked in the first round.
Yeah, I think this guy, just for this class, he's not as much of a thumper as Demetrius Knight Jr.,
No.
but he checks the most boxes, in my opinion. He's, we'll go through it quick. I mean, size. He's a do-everything type. Good production in college. Good speed and athleticism to cover, blitz, and rush, and he's got good closing speed. Open field tackling, great physicality for delivering solid hits. Not a thumper, like I said, but solid hits, and just active hands, like you said, for knocking down passes. Getting into the cons, the only thing I could really come up with is he seems a little more reactive than instinctive. Like he seems to react more than. I don't know, you can kind of tell when a guy's playing with instincts, in my opinion, if you watch enough of it. You can see that, this guy knows exactly what's going to happen instead of reading in real time and reacting. And I would like him to be a little bit more physical and aggressive, but, I mean, he checks all the boxes, I think. So it's hard to nitpick.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he seems kind of antsy and non-instinctive. He's kind of eager, see what's going to happen, and he doesn't see what's coming. He just waits and then makes a play. He plays very upright with a high pad level. Now he is 6'3", but I think he may struggle against some bigger, shorter running backs in the NFL that can get below him.
Sure, yeah.
Only 1 year of production, which was last year.
Right.
And I think it just should be noted because he is 6'3", 235. He's a physical specimen. He's just not strong enough to play off the edge because you may expect that when you see this size and weight and physicality.
Yep.
He's not creative at all in pass rush. Whenever he blitzes, he just kind of pushes into the offensive lineman with an attempted bull rush, and then he doesn't usually win those battles unless the quarterback maneuvers close to him so he can reach out and grab him with his 10.5-inch hands. Yeah. I just think he's much more of a north to south downhill bruiser than a crazy hair on fire all over the field hellraiser. So, like I said, I've seen him mocked in the first round, and so maybe I should be not so worried about these things. But if I'm drafting a linebacker in the first round, which probably isn't going to happen very often, I want somebody who is like, I don't know, I guess like crazy all over the field.
Playmaker.
Yeah,
game
playmaker.
changer, yeah.
Can do everything for your team. Fred Warner type. I know that he's like he's the king of the linebackers right now, and for good reason. 'Cause
Yeah.
he can do everything, and he's just obviously it's not fair to compare him to Fred Warner, but he's not Fred Warner.
Right.
Summary comp.
Yes.
Large athletic linebacker, but still best suited to play off ball. And then my comp, Quay Walker or Tremaine Edmonds. Kind of bigger,
Yeah.
but like not super everywhere.
Yeah.
Just kind of does their job.
Yeah, I like that one. That makes a lot of sense. All right, special shout-outs. Who do we got?
I'll go first, and I don't often shout out Oregon guys, but this guy I want to. Usually I'm harder on them, but I really liked what I saw, and I liked what I saw out of Jeffrey Bossa out of Oregon.
Yeah.
This guy is, and why I liked him is because he is a wild man in pursuit, and it looks really ugly whenever he does it. He swings his arms around like crazy. He's swatting blockers out of the way. He's swinging at the ball to try to force fumbles. He pursues with his legs spread apart. He's taking wide steps. He runs, and I'll have to send you guys the picture, but he runs like Art from Monsters University. Look up Art from Monsters University, and that really that's like my comp for Jeffrey Bossa. But I just really liked him as a lateral mover. He was able to slip off blockers and run support because he's swinging his arms around like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
He's aggressive. Yes. He's aggressive in coverage. He's often trying to lay out to break up and pass. He's also just a 4-year starter at Oregon, so I really like that. But overall, him as an athlete, speed's average at best. He's not a strong run stuffer despite his decent size of 6'1", 232. Not the strongest wrap up. He makes a lot of ankle tackles. I just like how aggressive this guy is, but it burns him a lot.
Sure, yeah. I think he's a smart linebacker, and he can play anywhere on the field if needed. I do like that he was at Oregon and played the best competition and had decent production for all those 4 years he was there. And yeah, I think he's got the ability to break off and get through blocks too. And yeah, decent coverage ability. And yeah, everything you said. I do like Jeffrey Bass out of Oregon.
I see that you guys don't really like him, but I really like Jamin Dumas Johnson out of Kentucky.
Yeah, that was curious to me.
Yeah, so he plays big, aggressive, and immovable. Really what most impressed me here is I watched him light up a big pulling guard and make the tackle on the running back. And for anyone that's played football, you know when there's a pulling guard coming to blindside you, you're done. And he took the offense on this guy, and he absolutely lit him up. I was like, it was another dang moment. He stays square and shuffles and mirrors the running back, which I like. He's a good hole filler in the running game, and that's really what he's going to exceed at is run support because he's slow. He kind of has bad closing speed, but he's good at throwing blockers off of him and making the tackle. So
that's why I had him ranked lower than you did. Obviously, I didn't have him ranked at – where'd you have him ranked?
6.
Yeah, I had him ranked down at 9 just because he plays super heavy and which is very good in run support, and he can do those things. But just as far as moving around the field, he's probably more of just like I'm just going to hover behind the defensive line, and you guys get everything out wide.
Also, it should be noted that he was a big part of Georgia's team. He used to play at Georgia. When Georgia won the national title, he was a big part of that. And I guess he was a lot better at Georgia than he was at Kentucky. So
I hope he's better than Smale Munden because I wasn't impressed with him.
Yeah.
One guy I'll mention here, I'll mention Barrett Carter out of Clemson. He's a 3-down type backer. I think he's got good athleticism and can play anywhere on the field, which I really like. He's got good body control getting through blocks and around players to make tackles. And I think he's got pretty good reaction skills, and he can wrap up in the open field as well. He's agile, pretty twitchy. He can blitz, and he can also even spy. There's a lot of tape of him like spying quarterbacks, and then he's got the twitchiness and agility to get to them if they do go out on the run. He closes distance quick to make tackles, and he's just a standout playmaker who's had good production the last 3 years. Things I don't like about him, and I had him at my number 5 linebacker also, so I like him quite a bit. But things I don't like, his instincts seem average. He seems to struggle to diagnose, like sometimes can get impatient and like compromise his position on the field. And he's not the craziest athlete and just kind of like an average size, but that's I still had him at 5, so I do like him a lot.
Yeah, I noticed with him he's great at playing like shadow or mirror defense. He's really good at just staying in front of whoever has the ball, whether it be a quarterback spy, whether he's trying to get juked out by running back, man coverage. He's great at that, but he is just smaller, and I think he's another guy that he's just a coverage linebacker, and he kind of plays like a big safety as well. My comp for him was Josh Metellus.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, that Swiss Army knife on Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually liked Jeremiah Trotter Jr. better than him. Guy that came out last year.
Yeah.
So I would have ranked him above. I wasn't a big Barrett Carter guy, obviously. But I just think he's kind of hesitant in pursuit is what my main thing that I saw. I agree with you. I think he's more reactive than he is predictive. It just kind of takes him longer to get to the ball carrier, and he just allows the play to develop longer, and which can possibly open something up, which concerns me.
He definitely doesn't go get the play. The play comes
Yeah,
to him.
yep, sure. All right, anyone else?
I'm good.
All right, that wraps it up. That wraps up our consensus top 5 linebackers from this 25 draft class. Curious to hear what you guys think. Let us know. Check out our Instagram and TikTok. We appreciate you guys watching over there. We got all
At
these.
Last Stop Sports Talk. Very simple.
Boom. Yeah, same thing as here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. We got a few more of these Draft Brothers episodes to do. We got some defensive guys, some offensive guys.
Edge rushers
Yeah.
and interior defensive linemen next week.
Boom. There it is. So tune back in for that, and we always got lots more to talk about. We appreciate you guys watching, and we will catch you on the next one.